Yeah. 1 second. Okay. So, So last time we talked about evaluating external environment. Remember we talked about the macro environment and then the industry, how we analyze industry. And we use Harvard Business School's Michael Porter's 5 forces analysis. Today, we are going to use, but we won't talk as much as we talk about 5 forces, but today we are going to use what we call resource-based view. It's from a Stanford professor, Jay Barney. Okay, Dr. Jay Barney. He was the one that brought up the resource-based view. And if you see here, we will talk about, we're going to evaluate the company's internal resources, capability, and competitiveness. Okay. So, but before we start, because it's like the midterm period, usually I share this video to people. And as you guys can see, the PSG game becoming more competitive now. And then there are teams that got not good grade. So, but it's still not too late. Okay, so I'm going to share with you this video where my friend shared this with me, and I thought that's funny.
Do you suffer from stress, sleep deprivation, and academic status report denial? Living in a world of why, who, how, what the? If any of these symptoms sound familiar, you may be one of millions of college students suffering from fear of one-on-one with my professor, or when.
Is it dangerous?
Yes, patients who are experience increasingly debilitating outcomes and persistent pangs of regret.
How did I even get one?
Science may never know. The important thing to remember is that flu is 100% treatable. Introducing FO, Faculty Office Hours, or O for short.
Oh?
That's right. FO is a groundbreaking treatment plan for students suffering from fear of meeting one-on-one with my professor.
Do I need a prescription to get FO?
Oh no, FO is an effective treatment that begins with a simple visit to your doctor of philosophy's office.
Oh, does it hurt?
No. Popular belief, FO patients report painless experiences that are often described as much better than expected.
Is it habit-forming?
Vast majority of successful phone users can years.
Sounds amazing. How do I sign up for?
Simply call or email your doctor of philosophy today to set up a free trial appointment to find out what's right for you.
Once I tried FO, everything fell into place. I understood what was going on in class, and I knew how to the next test. I'm hooked.
Possible side effects of FO include seeing your professor as a human for the first time, understanding course content, increased GPA, a general sense of well-being, healthier sleeping habits, improved confidence.
These students have been approved by the federal drug administration. They've been approved by Dr. Michael Grow with guidelines. Not to fill in fever.
So this is something I want to share with you guys. And, so it's still not too late, especially for the PSG game. I know it's a lot of work, and yeah, so talk to me. You have my cell phone, text me, and then Zoom, because a lot of, I still get emails they say they are confused, but unfortunately, if I log into my account, I couldn't. If I could, I could have done it, but I couldn't log into whatever you guys see. I don't have the decision, screen.
You got the teacher screen versus the student screen.
Yes, I only had teacher screen. So whatever I recorded is what I can see. If you guys watch my video, this is what I can see. So it's, you guys should log in into your computer and then, share screen with me so I can tell you, like I can kind of know, okay, this is where the decision should be. Otherwise, I don't have, your screen. So please, text me to Zoom if you need help. We have a good team that's on top of the class. And they've won Global 100, okay? So today, let's go back to the evaluating internal environment. So we are going to think about, whether or not our company is doing well, whether or not our strategy is working. So the thing we look at is, we want to know whether or not how well our strategy is, working, and how do we know if our strategy is working? Okay, so those are some of the questions that we are going to kind of go over. Okay, so first thing is, how well is the company's current strategy working? So the best way to look at it is just exactly like what we did in class for the BSG game. Look at your financial and strategic objective. See your numbers, okay? So your earnings report, your market share. So those are the things that we look at. If we are doing well, those numbers will show, okay? So whether or not you are above average performer, so we look at the numbers. And we can look at different things, like how do we identify companies' strategy from something small. So for example, we also look at the BSGs. Let me just pull it out. Sometimes we look at like the industry report. You guys have all the assets like I do, but you guys have more information because you get to see your numbers. I don't get to see any of your individual companies' information. So like for example, we can look at this. This is like a public information, okay? And you can kind of see that this company their shoe model is 500, okay? And the next one is G, okay? They have 435, very close to 500. But if you also look at the brand advertising, okay? I put a lot of advertising, and also B also put in a lot of advertising, but the difference is I's price is cheaper than B, and I's quality is much better than B, okay? And you see the celebrity appeal similar, but the retailer outlet is different, okay? Retailer support, B has nothing, they have no retailer support, they have a lot. So you see the market share difference. They got relatively good market share with the price they charge. They are the highest, most expensive shoes, but they were still able to sell 7.5%. It's lower than average because we have some big players that got a lot of shares. But with this price, with this quality, this is relatively good. So we know that the advertising also is important, the celebrity is important here. But you see their strategy is different. Their strategy is to maybe sell okay quality product, but with a lot of advertising and a lot of celebrity to help them to sell their shoes. Unfortunately, I think it will work if everybody else doesn't put in that much advertisement, but unfortunately I and D also put in a lot in advertisement and their price is cheaper. Okay, so that's why their sales is a little bit relatively low. It's not as high as they could have got, okay? And also their SQ is not very high. So this is like, we can see from the small things to kind of identify their strategy, okay? So the R&D, like here, we don't have R&D, but we do have, we know how many models are available, okay? And sales marketing strategy, and then the rest of them we don't really have. We don't get to apply in our BSG game, okay? But we can still see some of the signs. So another thing that we can look at is the specific indicator to show like whether or not our strategy actually is working, is whether or not their sales or market share is growing, okay? And were they able to keep their customers? So what you guys can do is go back to here. We can look at year 13. So you see I's market share was 18.5, year 13 was 18.6, B was 4.4. So they actually gained a lot of market share, okay? I lost a little bit, okay? So, but you can kind of see that through years, okay? So you see I grew from 11 to 18%. So, so you know, just something that we can look at, okay? And whether or not they strengthen their image, reputation, like you see that some of the team has celebrity appeal, or what we call the image rating. So image rating, some like I think I also already got 100 long time ago. So the image rating, CI's image rating is 100, okay, since year 2. So they definitely got higher market recognition, okay? They're like Apple in shoes. And then whether or not you were able to increase profit margin, net profit, or return on investment. So you can also kind of look at that from these numbers. Okay, so this is a profit, gross profit margin, net profit margin, operating profit margin. So, you know, you can look at that and then see, you know, whether or not yourself or your competitor, your direct competitor, you know, where they are. So so these are some of the things that we look at. So one thing I thought interesting. So we talk about acquisition or retention of the customers. So I want to share with you because it kind of, so this is the Chinese app for iPhone 14. Okay, I'm going to translate the subtitle for you guys. So the subtitle means being expensive is never its disadvantage or its pitfall. Okay, the phone's pitfall. It's yours. Do you understand what I mean? I might not translate it well. So what do you guys think it means? I mean, it says being expensive is never iPhone's fault.
It's your fault.
It's your fault. It's your fault that you think this is expensive. What will you feel if you see that kind of commercial? You still buy iPhone, or it doesn't matter to you? What will you guys feel? Come on. Just tell me, it's okay. There's no right or wrong. I just want to know how. I will tell you what my friends say, but I want to. You still buy it? Why? Yeah, but the company insult you. What do you guys think? You still buy it?
What's the question?
the question is, so this is the commercial for iPhone 14 in Chinese area. This is Chinese. So it says being expensive is never its fault, iPhone's fault, it's your own fault. You can't afford it. It's your own fault, you can't afford it. So you complain it's expensive.
I wouldn't switch to Samsung, so it's still.
How does their market support that kind of advertising over there? I'm not sure how the economy is. Obviously, people can afford it, but
People
how
can-
many can afford it?
The issue is nobody can, I mean, very few people can really afford it, but look, I still got it. I was angry, but why do I still get it? Because like you say you won't get Samsung, I can't use a Android phone. I don't know how to use it. And I have everything. I have every Mac, like MacBook, I have iMac, I have what is it? The iPad, you know, I have all Apple stuff. Even though I don't use computer like in a very sophisticated way, but still, even to merge my calendar, it's a big deal for me. So Apple make it easy. So, you know, I'm willing to pay. But my friends, they were angry. They say, some people say they would purposely spend more money, buy something more expensive, but just not iPhone. Yeah, I didn't do it. You know, when I see, I was like, wow, I feel like the employees there become too arrogant. Okay, it will backfire one day, but not yet, because you know they have something else, like we know, like the networking, the how do you call that, the effect that yeah, it's called networking effect, but I don't know how to explain it. Like, you know, I have all the Apple product, it make it easier for me to use, okay, to use iPhone. So so that means there must be something work for them. Like, you know, everybody, like we, at least in this class, we want to still use Apple product because we are just use. What do you have?
I have Android.
So how do you like it?
I like it. I've used it for years.
Okay. And do you ever have an Apple?
Only when I had to, because we were supporting people that had apples.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so that means they have something that's working. That commercial pissed off a lot of people. But well, on one hand, it pisses off people. On the other hand, some people still choose to buy so that it shows like, oh, this is not my, you know, my disadvantage. I can afford it. So
Like a status symbol.
maybe, yeah, that too. Yeah. So so it's just but usually we see the financial performance. It's the indication of, you know, our weak strategy or the bad execution, or both. Okay. So sometimes we might, like I've always say, some companies, like in your PhD game, you have good strategy, but I think I mentioned it a few weeks ago about company B. I think they have good strategy, but they didn't execute it well. I think two years, year 12 or year 13, they didn't ship enough shoes to different area. So I thought, you know, that's the execution part. But so these are some of the financial ratios that we talk about it a lot on the PhD game, like gross profit margin that I just look at, operating profit margin, net profit margin. Okay, so we look at all this. Return on asset we didn't really look at, but we look at return on equity a lot. It's actually one of the indication for your grade. Okay, so those are the ratios we look at. And then one ratio I also look at is the turnover, the days of inventory, the inventory turnover. So remember, I don't know if you guys remember, I talk about it a lot in your financial report. Let me just show you. So like sometimes I say, oh, the days of inventory is like anything 3-digit is not good, okay? So F and A and B, you have a little bit too, oh, and then JKL, have too many inventories, okay? So this is becoming a issue if you have too many inventories because, yeah, because then you pay more inventory expenses. So these are some of the, ratios we look at. Price to earning ratio, okay? Dividend yield, annual dividend based on the current market price. Okay, so this is an indication for investors. So they look at it, see if this company is worth investing. And of course, the more people invest in your stock price go up. So it's all somewhat connected. Okay, so our best performing company, the I on the top lonely or whatever they say, see their stock price is crazy. It's already $600 in year 14. Okay, so I hope you guys can beat them. They are, but I know they need virtually. They are, like later teams are the team that meet virtually. So they actually meet every week, and then they constantly text each other. Okay, so they actually put in a lot of effort in that, even though we don't see it, but yeah. So so this is how we identify whether or not our strategy is working. Okay, and then we if it's working, then what another thing is we want to figure out like what exactly help us to make it work. Okay. What is our competitively important resources or capability? So like it's what we call competitive asset or resources capabilities. Okay, so basically there are several things. Capability, competence is the capability of the firm to do something. Okay, and then the resources is the asset that owned or controlled by the company. So our asset, we actually have several type of assets. Okay, so the asset, we will have the tangible asset, tangible resource, it's like physical resource like building, land, financial resources, cash, account receivable, okay, the stock, what is it, the equity, okay, and then technological assets like some of the technology or let's say maybe some patterns we developed, okay, organizational resources. Do you guys remember Zappos? So organizational resources like something that belong to the organization, like the culture, those kind of stuff. And then we have intangible resource, the human assets, intellectual capital, brand name, the company image, or their reputation, or the relationship between their customers or suppliers. So one thing I noticed, I don't see any other brand has the kind of effect, is the relationship, the loyalty from the Apple customers. Okay, well, I complain a lot, but I still buy Apple product. But I noticed when I remember when I went to Apple store at that time, I think my first Apple product was the iPhone. So after iPhone, I bought an iPad, and after iPad, I was thinking about switch to a laptop, Apple laptop, MacBook or MacBook Air. But at that time, I was teaching something that we need to use statistic software called SPSS. Okay, so we need to use SPSS. But I wasn't sure if MacBook is compatible with SPSS. So I went there and I was looking, and then one guy just approached me. And I thought he was employee there, but it turns out he was just a customer. So I was like, I forgot how, like, he's like, so what are you looking for? Like I was typing something and somehow the people started to talk, and then I just say, I'm wondering if I install SPSS, if it will work. So this guy actually go to like help center online for Apple, and then he said, oh, you can do this virtual hard drive. I don't know if you guys, I don't know if it's still the same because it was maybe 10 years ago. So he said you can install a virtual hard drive and then use half as like a DOS system, and then half use iOS system.
Yeah, purchasing the drive right now.
Yeah, so he said you can use that. So, and then just switch. But he answered a lot of questions. I was like, oh, and then I thought, oh, so who can I talk? Like, how do I buy the computer? How do I? He said, oh, I don't work here. I'm a customer. So that's something I found interesting. And Apple also have like summer camp every year. And I signed up for my daughter like the past few years. But the thing is, they are very smart. They give this camp for free, but they require all parents stay there. You cannot go. I cannot go to mall or do anything. I have to stay there. So what do we do when we stay there? We just go over their product and stuff. Like we like I was looking at the Apple Watch, and then people just say, I was like, and some parents were just talking. And then people started to say, oh, you can use parental control for this. And, we just like the people just start teaching each other. And then we are all just customers. We are not, staff working there. Yeah. So it's something I thought it's very interesting. I don't see that in anywhere else. Like I never experienced that. We think, yeah, I never experienced that in any other company. Okay, so that's interesting. And then a company culture is intangible resource. Yeah. So but usually when companies are doing things, they don't really think about what they are good at. They don't really think about what's their capability. Okay, because usually that's the academics job. Like when some company is doing really, really well, we started to look at what do they do differently. Okay, but since you are doing the PhD game, try to think about what do you have that other competitor doesn't have, and because you guys are competing with each other. So so what do you have? How do you identify the capability? Okay, so Jay Barney, the Stanford professor, well, he's in Ohio State now. So when he invented this, he was in Stanford. So we call it Stanford School of Strategy. And then Michael Porter is the Harvard School of Strategy. So the BIN test is to test the resources we have, whether or not it actually create competitive advantage, and not just competitive advantage, but sustainable competitive advantage. Okay, so 4 things we look at. First is valuable, whether or not this resource is valuable. Okay, if it's not valuable, it doesn't really create any value for your company, right? So your resource has to be valuable. But even if it's valuable, is it easy to get? Okay, so even though sometimes something is valuable, but if it's not rare, if you can buy it anywhere, even though it's expensive, some company have money, they can just buy it. So is it rare? Is it difficult to get? Only few people have it. If you have the kind of resources, then maybe it's it'll be it'll bring you competitive advantage. But what if it's rare, it's valuable, but it's not that difficult to imitate? Okay. So is it inimitable? So if it's not easy to imitate, then maybe you would have your sustainable competitive advantage. But what if somebody come up with some substitute to replace your valuable, rare, and inimitable resources? Then if it's substitutable, then it doesn't really work for you. So we have to see whether or not our resource is variable, is it rare and inimitable, and then non-substitutable. So we have to pass all 4 criteria. Then we know these resources can bring us sustainable competitive advantage. Okay, so that's the internal evaluation we're going to do. We're going to look at our resources, see what we're good at, and how easy it is to imitate, or whether or not it's substitutable. Okay, so let's see. I talk about the apples. One of the I think capability that I have is their press conference. The style. They actually create the style for now the high-tech company. When they try to introduce their product, they will have their top management dress like Tim Cook or Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was the first person that dressed like that, jeans and polo shirt, and then some relatively casual shoes, not very formal, but still look nice. So they would talk like this and then introduce the product. And then I realized it's at that time it's rare, but a lot of CEOs started to imitate him. Okay, so it's not something. And then Tim Cook actually successfully follow the pattern. So it's not that imitable. But the one we talk about, okay, the networking, in fact, once you use all Apple product, it's difficult to switch. So that's kind of the network effect. It's a kind of resources, the capability they have that's difficult to copy. Okay, if you have a Samsung phone, you might use a PC, right? You use Android system, but it's not that difficult to
How tightly integrated they are.
yeah, it's not very tight. But that's the whole thing. They didn't design the system to make it tight. Apple, on the other hand, they purposely try to exclude other people. So that's the thing. Even though I personally don't like that, but it's just too easy to use. So unfortunately, that's how they do things. But now actually I can put in my Google Calendar. I can put Google, see, I have Gmail, so I can put Google Calendar in my Apple Calendar. And then I use Google email. So whatever the email I receive, like if I get flight ticket confirmation or hotel confirmation, it will automatically detect it by the calendar, and then I can just add it to my calendar. So it's actually good. Yeah. So those are the things that we look at. And so one thing is what we call social complexity. Okay. So like Apple's relationship with their customers and the customer's relationship. Like last time we talked about iMessage You know, the blue, how do we call that? Forgot this special term. Okay, like you have peer pressure. If your friend texts you and they didn't show blue text, it means you are not an Apple user. So your friend might push you to, hey, you don't have an Apple, you don't have iMessage, you know? So I have a friend whose friend, his friend actually gave him an iPhone, said, I beg you, you know, use this. I can't stand like the green message, you know, just use iPhone. Let's do iMessage together. Yeah, so we do have friends like that. And then sometimes with I remember one of my friends, she used to have Apple. And then one day she still have iPad. But one day she texts me and it's green. I was like, what's going on? How come your text become green? Like, oh, I switched to Android phone. Yeah, so so the social complexity, it's kind of difficult to imitate, to copy. Okay, so that's the thing that, you know, the something that's complex, difficult to copy, or the causal ambiguity. Sometimes, one example is Toyota. Toyota, their factories are very how should I put it? Very efficient, yes, high quality. So I forgot the exact number, but let's say if it takes 600 square feet in average for GM to produce one car. So they divided how many cars they make every year, and by their factory square footage. So if it's for GM, it takes them 600 square footage. It only takes Toyota like 35. So they are very, very efficient compared to Ford, GM, and or other American automakers. So companies started to visit Toyota to learn. So they noticed they have this compound system. They have total quality management that we will talk about in the later chapter. And in your BSG game, you actually have that too. So Six Sigma, they use all this. So those auto companies keep sending people, try to learn their system. But the thing is that it's not just those tiny, like one thing, two things. It's just the way Japanese do things. Japanese is like perfectionist. Okay, so they just try, they want things to be perfect, even though when it's perfect, in our standard we think it's perfect, but they still try to improve all the time. Okay, and to us, I mean, at least to me, I would feel so stressed, like I have to constantly improve. Okay, but to them, that's in their blood, that's in their culture. So those are like, so the causal ambiguity is they get everything, like GM, they learn this, they thought this is the reason, but that's actually the result from the culture, because they are very professionalist. So then they develop this compound system, they develop Six Sigma, they develop the TQM. Actually, they are not the one developing, but they get to, yeah, yes. So that's where, you know, it becomes complicated. Another thing I can, another example I can think of is Southwest. Okay, so Southwest, they are in the past few years, when the major airliners were in trouble financially, Southwest was the only one that's making profit. Okay, when United and American Airlines, when they filed bankruptcy several years ago. So Southwest, what they did is they were the first one that they still don't assign seat. Okay, instead now they have boarding priorities. So if you're a group one, you board first. It's like Greyhound, they don't give you a seat, you just go and fight for seat. Okay, and that's why I hated Southwest, because I can never get I'm like the last one get the seat. Like if I'm in the parking lot, I can never get a parking. So I'm not good at those kind of stuff. But so they don't assign seat. and they only use one type of aircraft, 737. So and then they use, most of the time, they use a secondary hub. Like if we go to Philly, well, now it's all like crowded, but before, like Southwest will be in a terminal that's a little bit further. So they use like further terminal. And if it's like, if they have like somewhere, if we have like east or west or major, the main terminal or west terminal, Southwest is always in a secondary terminal. Or like in New York, they don't go to JFK, they will go to LaGuardia, smaller airport. In LA, they don't go to LAX, they go to this place called Toronto, California, not in Canada. Somewhere in LA, but not in near LAX. It's like in the suburbs. So they use the secondary hub, smaller airport, which they pay less. Okay, so all the stuff they use help them save money. And so when they don't provide any in-flight meal before they become very successful, all the major airlines, I don't know if you guys probably were not born yet. So maybe 20 years ago, when we fly domestic or shorter flight, we always get some kind of cake or sandwich and drink. Now you don't get nothing because Southwest only serve peanuts and drinks. So yeah.
That's like from McDonald's. You know, people always get the peanuts with the sundae.
Uh-huh.
Now you just get the sundae.
So Southwest were because they try to save money, so they don't want to bother to prepare food. So when all other airlines they didn't make money, they thought, okay, we should learn from Southwest. So they learned that they cut all the in-flight meal. But it's not just one thing. They don't assign seat, and airlines pay a lot of money for the technology where they assign seat, but they messed up. And then different other airlines, they have all type of different aircraft. So sometimes when something happens, they can't switch fast enough because maybe this pilot is certified to fly certain type of aircraft, but maybe when something happened to that particular aircraft, they might not have the same type of aircraft available at that airport. So they might need to find another crew to fly the other type of aircraft. So that's why it makes it so difficult. But Southwest, they only have one type of aircraft. They make them easy to bargain for good deals from Boeing, okay? And make it easier for them to prepare the, how do you call that? The parts for maintenance. And they just need to train their pilot fly one type of aircraft, their maintenance to fix one type of aircraft. They get good bargain from Boeing, and for the parts, they only need to prepare for one type of aircraft. So it makes it so much easy and then cheaper for them. Okay, but of course there are trade-offs. Like if you notice, Southwest don't really fly long haul because their aircraft is not big enough to fly like long haul. So you have to, if you fly Southwest a lot of time, you have to transfer to different airport. Okay. And they don't want to be too ambitious. They don't want to break their pattern. So you know, but those are the things that it's difficult for other airlines to copy, even though they carried up the in-flight meal. Okay, so those are, you know, like the things that we can do. So think about with the BSG game, what you can do that it will be difficult for your competitor to copy. Or even when they try to copy, it will be different. Like when they know how they can copy, but it will be too late. So some of the threats, like we talk about, if we can find substitute, okay? And, or there's some fundamental environmental change. So the example would be, you call that, there used to be a camera.
Kodak.
Say again,
Kodak.
not Kodak, but the one when you took picture and you can take it out and then just
Oh, Polaroid.
Polaroid?
Yeah.
Polaroid? How do you say that?
Polaroid.
Polaroid. So Polaroid, they messed up. They when they were focusing on, advancing their technology in the how do you call that? Instant, photo. Do you guys know what it is? No. Really? Shoot. I have a tiny Polaroid, and then the when I take picture, I can pull it out and then it become a sticker. I can peel the back and then it's a sticker. So maybe I'll see if I can find something. But so they were focusing on how to improve the quality. Usually the quality wasn't good, but other camera company already realize there's a digital market. So they totally messed up and then they just kind of disappeared from the market. Okay, and then what else? Do you guys know Nokia? So Nokia was like one of my favorite phone. They're like before we have smartphone, like
Kill somebody.
yeah. So their phones are like really nicely designed, very nice quality, small, but they were focusing on something like they were focusing on making the photo look nicer, but all other company already jump into the smartphone, but Nokia wasn't fast enough to go into smartphone, so they kind of just died. Yeah, so it's just how should I put it? Like they didn't see that coming. They were like the number one. I think they were like the number one cell phone company in the world. It just suddenly died. Yeah. So so sometimes if we don't detect the market right, it's but sometimes when the brain becomes so powerful, they kind of create their own demand. Okay, like while this I'm not sure. I'll tell you the example, like Apple, their new ultra watch, right? The new watch, the most expensive watch, they can tell you the watch can, like I remember a friend I watched on TV, like a guy, he said their watch is amazing. Like he said he fell. He fell, and then the watch say, "Are you okay? Do you want me to call 911?" He's like, "The phone is smart. He knew I fell." Yeah. So that's the thing, and then it almost made me want to buy the phone, because that's one thing I was afraid of. Like, I'm a single mom, and it's just me and my daughter. We don't have any relatives nearby, so I'm always concerned. Like, what if I get into a car accident? What if then who is going to tell my daughter? How do the police or the ambulance people know how to, So that's something that's something I was constantly thinking. Actually, today something happened to my best friend's brother-in-law. So my best friend, she texted me at 1 p.m. my time, which is 1 a.m. her time. She said her brother-in-law killed himself, and he is in Germany, and his wife is my best friend's sister. She's in Taiwan. She couldn't contact him, so she called the landlord, and then it turns out he, I don't know the details, but it's just, and he's alone in Germany. He's like the CEO for a big company. it's just been very stressful. I think the economy wasn't very, like, hasn't been very good. So somehow he just, yeah, so it's, and I was like, how, like, if, I don't know, I mean, that's why I was like, maybe I should get a, oh, sorry. Forgot. It's time to pick up my daughter. So when I don't have class. Yeah, so, so sometimes some company, they create demand, but it reminds me another thing. How many of you heard of the Facebook's virtual goggle? The virtual reality goggle, $1,800. Will you guys be interested? I mean, if it's cheaper, will you guys be interested with the virtual reality thing? Yeah? Will you be willing to pay 1,800?
No.
Not yet? No, or never, or not yet? Not yet, okay. So it means one day you make enough money, you might. Okay, how about you? Virtual reality, so you are also interested? Yeah, why? Will you be interested?
Those things are kind of freaky.
No? No, not at all. Anybody? Will you be interested? No? Interesting. Yeah, so I don't know yet. I mean, I like new things, but I don't understand how it works. Like, I don't know why I need it. So, but I think that's something that Facebook, Meta put a lot of effort in, and maybe, I don't know. I mean, some people are like really into it. Like they were excited about it. Some people like me were like, okay, maybe, we don't know. Okay. Same as Bitcoin, crypto. How many of you would like to invest in crypto? Raise your hand.
Now, maybe earlier.
Crypto. No, you can short. Nobody? No? No crypto? One professor, Yue, he told me, he said, you need to get this. This is it's a one doggy coin. Doggy?
Doge.
Huh?
D-O-G-E.
Yes. Yeah. D-O-G-E?
It's called Doge.
Doge? Okay, Dogecoin. But he said B-O-N-E. He said this is the platform for Dogecoin. Yeah, so he said based on his calculation, estimation, now I think it's like $1 or a little bit less. He said he think it would be worth $4, quadruple. And I was like, I think it's a scam. No, it's just my logic. I think more people get in, it's like a Ponzi scheme. More people get in, the market, go up. So eventually,
Like the GameStop.
well, and that's a little bit different. GameStop is like, it's like a
Oh, no, they manipulated the market.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Bitcoin is how I feel. But we will see whether or not, this change. Yeah, so we use the SWOT analysis. How many of you don't know what SWOT analysis is? Anybody know? Where do you learn SWOT analysis? I'm curious.
It's like Business 200, something like that.
I had it with Professor Tsai. That's why.
XIOC.
See?
What time he will teach SWOT analysis?
Like Excel.
No, SWOT, no, it's not Excel.
No, it's like management fundamentals, that class. whatever that class was.
Did you guys know what SWOT analysis is? Huh? Okay. You remember SWOT? Okay.
Oh,
You-
SWOT.
Yeah, so where do you learn it? Do you remember?
Wrong SWAT.
Like my daughter.
Oh, the show?
Oh, no, this,
There's a show called SWOT.
really?
Oh, yeah.
That's SWAT, right?
Yes, 18.
Oh.
This is, did I pronounce it wrong?
No, you're fine. You got it.
SWAT? And how do you say SWAT?
SWAT. They're both
Also
SWAT.
SWAT?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Good old English.
Now I suddenly I was like, did I, okay. So SWOT is strength, weakness, opportunity, and threats. Okay, basically, that's how company evaluate their internal capability. So they will see what's their strength. It's sort of like, I don't know if you guys do that, like, you know what your strengths are, your weaknesses are, and then you might know what kind of jobs is better for you, and then the opportunity in a job, what kind of opportunity you can utilize it. So similar to the company's SWOT analysis, okay? We know what is our strength, okay? So in your BSG game, some companies, they have a lot of cash, they have huge market share, so maybe that's their strength, okay? And then the weaknesses, maybe they don't have enough capacity, okay? So what's their opportunity? That's something that you have to figure out. So if you have full market share, but not enough capacity, then and then you have good marketing, maybe what you can do is increase your price, and you don't want to spend money in expanding capacity at this moment. So you can increase your price, make your product like premium, very premium, okay? So it's just, something that you can figure out your strengths, weaknesses, whether or not you can develop something or you can find some opportunity and then avoid some of the threats, okay? So it's more of the strategic defense. So, so this is, how we use this to apply in the internal evaluation. And we already kind of talked about this, so.
That was management 200. Did you guys take that one?
Yeah, everybody's, are you sure it's management 200?
Mhm.
Okay, thank God. Because I remember I used SWOT analysis in a senior class, something like this, like capstone class. We use SWOT analysis to analyze the company, but it was before microfolder. Yeah, at that time we didn't really have microfolder, process analysis. So, yeah, so we identify the market opportunities, okay, whether or not it's a must pursue or it's just maybe, and then, or no, let's not go there yet, so. And then we have different threats. How do we defend ourselves from threats? So that's also something that you guys can think about. Okay. So I think, let me see what else. So when we use SWOT analysis, something that we can kind of think about, like, what are the most attractive aspect of the company? Okay. For company I, definitely their SQ rating, their market share is huge. And then what are the aspects that you need to be concerned about? Okay. And whether or not your strengths outweigh the weaknesses, okay? And, give, like, evaluate on a scale 1 to 10, how do you rate your company and your future prospects? So, I don't know if you guys remember the whole structure, the value proposition, where, we draw, value here, and then the price, and then the cost. Okay, so whether or not the value is high enough to make your consumer to pay for the price, and you still make enough profit with your cost. Okay, so we can let me see if I have. So we can use a value chain analysis, like we divided the cost into different value chain activities. Okay, so like in value chain, we have supply chain management, operations, distribution, sales, marketing, service, profit margin, and then we have this is the primary activity. So this means that this usually they have direct contact with the customers. And then the R&D, technology, the system development, HR, general administration, they are like the backstage. So they are the support activity. Okay, so what can we do to like bring value to the product and still try to cut costs? Okay, so something we use in the value chain analysis is, let me see, it's like this. We break down our material into different small things. Like for example, this polo shirt, retail price is $155. So these are our costs. Okay, the fabric, this fabric from France is $6.80. And then the fabric for the placket and band is 99 cents. Oh, so, oh wait. Okay, so red 9 cents, label $1, 10 cents a hand tag, 40 cents, labor $11, packing material, this is 17 cents. Oh, and then the hand embroidered linen bag is $3. Okay, so our total cost is almost $30. And then we have markup for wholesale, so it's like 65. And then the retailers markup is $90. So they sell this for $155. Okay, so we can think about like what is not that important. Like if we cut some of the cost, we still this product will still look nice, still have the value of $155. So when we break this down, we can try to figure out, so where can we cut this? Okay. So shipping material to factory sure to ensure $5. Okay. So this is like more supporting things. But the bag looks cute, but is it really worth that much money? We don't know. Okay. But do you think there's something we can cut to not make it like that, but just pack it in a nicer way, a little bit cheaper? Okay, so think about your phone. When you get the phone, I don't know what kind of box you get from Android phone.
Not so much different than the Apple phone, just the cardboard box with.
Really? Okay. What? You got, yeah, 14 don't have charger. Yeah. Yeah, they don't have charger, but but is it very hard like Apple's box? Because before iPhone, when I used to get the cell phone, the box was like something very not in good material. Like you usually just throw it away, and it breaks easy. Oh, so this is also the, oh, okay, so now they all change it to like this. But before it wasn't like that. Yeah, so I wonder how much that box costs. So what if you put clothes in the kind of like the very hard cardboard, like nice box? I don't know if it would cost more than $3. Maybe it would look better, okay, with the with the box, not that thing. So that's something that we can kind of take a look and then use to oh, this is also important. You know, to try to cut the cost, but not to lower the value. Okay, or maybe if you want to increase the value, you know, we can look at that, see where we can improve, and then not increase too much cost, but increase value. So benchmark is also something important where we learn, we imitate from the best. Okay, like in our case, company I, definitely, you know, they are doing much better. So maybe we can look at what they did. I don't know if it's still enough time. I think it is, yeah. So you still have six rounds of decision. Oh, I forgot to mention. Some companies didn't submit their 3-year strategic plan. It's due last Monday, so I extended it. But since year 14 already kind of, year 14 already kind of passed. So your 3-year strategic plan is 14, 15, 16. You have to estimate the number for 14, 15, 16, right? So if you want, you can go back in because I reopened it. So you can go back in and change your numbers, 14, 15, 16. So, you know, if you guys want, it's open, it's due by tonight. So
Graded the ones that are not here.
yeah, it's already graded, but if you change the number, it will regrade it again. So
How
you
do we know what's my grade right now?
go to gradebook. Where did you see that?
I think under the assignments, you can see where the grades were, right?
Or under assignments? Sorry, I don't really have the, I don't have the,
You're on that side of the keyboard, so to speak.
yeah. So this is another thing that you can use, okay?
It was like the Baldrige Award, right?
Sorry?
So that was like the Baldrige Awards for the benchmarking stuff.
No, the benchmark is just
Let
basically
people
learn.
keep an eye on who wins those awards and then.
Oh, yeah. And then see what they are doing, yeah. So, I think we will talk about this next time. Next time, chapter 5, we'll talk about remember we talked about 2 fundamental strategies, cost efficient and differentiation. So next time we'll look into details on how loans are different. And if you use different strategies, how you are going to, what aspect you can focus on, okay? And if the company is stronger or weaker than your rivals. So there are like several ways people use different, they find different key success factors, like what you think the market focus on, like what the market wants. And then you assign weight and then you rate different characteristics. Like in this case, they have quality, product performance, they think it's 10%, reputation 10%, manufacturing capability 10%, technological skill 5%, the network, dealer network distribution is 5%, new product innovation 5%, financial resources 10%, but the relative cost position 30%. Customer service capability 15%. So this is your company. Okay, you're strong in quality, reputation, technological, network, product innovation, but you're kind of weak in the manufacturing capability. Okay, and you're okay, just medium with the financial resources like money and the cost position and customer service capability. Okay. On the other hand, rival 1, they are strong in manufacturing capability, very strong, but they are very weak in technological skills They are strong in financial resources, relative cost position, strong, okay with the image, maybe better, a little bit worse than you, but better for you, better than you in the customer service. And another competitor is like the opposite. Well, not the opposite, but like they are worse in whatever you are good at, like the quality, this and then this, they are a little bit technologically a little bit better, but much worse than you. And these are like medium, but for the cost, customer service capabilities, like the worst. So when you look at this, if you are the ABC company, what do you think you should do first? There's no right or wrong answer, okay? So will you focus on building something you are good at, like the dealer network, new product innovation, this to 10, or you focus on 2, improving 2, or the 5? What will you guys focus on? Or this, like the 5s happen to be like something that's important, or something like that 30% weight. You focus on that. What will you guys do? What will you do if you are company ABC?
Improving the relative cost position definitely has a bigger leverage.
Yeah, but the thing is that you don't have financial resources. So that's like, it's like you cannot competing with them, right? Even though you have,
If you can manufacture more to sell more, and maybe those other finances come up a little bit too.
okay. Or you make this even better. What will you guys do? There's no right or wrong answer. I just want you guys to kind of think about it. Okay. To me, I think the easier way to, just my opinion, okay? Easier way is probably to make this better. Oops. And then see. Okay. To make that better. And then see if I can maybe lure this company to buy the company, buy my company. I don't know. I mean, it's just, just easier way. But if you want to compete with them, your manufacturing capability is like really, really weak. So will you do this one or will you do this one? Oh. It's this. So maybe if your manufacturing capability is better, maybe
If I could see what you mean by having them acquiring you guys and you put the
Yeah,
best of both
yeah.
worlds together.
yeah. So they can get the technology, and then they can maybe get the image, the quality from us. Yeah. Or, but I don't think we have the capability to buy them, because they probably, it looks like from here, it looks like it's bigger. It might not, but from this, it looks like this company is bigger. Yeah. So, or maybe I improve the manufacturing capability. And then when I have the capability, I can sell more, and then I will have the financial resources, and then maybe the cost position will be better. Yeah. So it's just, but this give us, that's why another time we say numbers are important. So when we have numbers, it doesn't tell us the whole story, but at least it will help us to kind of think about, what to do. So that's also one thing that we can use to see where we can improve, and where, where's our weakness, where's our strength, how do we want to pursue next, okay? So definitely have that, it give us thoughts, different directions when we see the numbers. So that's it for today. So next time we'll talk about the analysis. Let me exit first, so I have the video.